Proceed back to the dais for the national anthem, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, after the photograph, you're requested to go back to the dais for the national anthem, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, that marks the end of the first part of these celebrations. We now proceed to the main venue for the second part of the celebrations, Your Excellency. You may drive. Yeah, it's going to be.
In her area as a doctor. When you look at the late Dr. Murwana, he was a hero in his area. You know, he worked with his whole heart, with commitment. Therefore, when you work at whatever you are doing with commitment, in contribution to the nation, you are a hero. And some of them have got their talents which they develop, and they become heroes just overnight. When you look at Stephen Kiprotich, all of a sudden, he became a hero. And not only that, he also encouraged others. So when you see Joshua Kiptegei and you see Halima in sports, they are also heroes in their own categories. They are heroes in their categories. Therefore, if you can influence other people, you become a hero. But in Uganda, because of those people who sacrificed their lives and went to fight for the liberation of this country from injustice, extrajudicial killing, and they brought peace, everything that we have in Uganda today is attributed to them. This atmosphere that we are enjoying is attributed to them. I would like to welcome the team that has been at the Heroes Corner. Thank you for that function that performed there. Welcome to now the next venue. We are going to start now a fresh function. You're welcome. Thank you for accompanying His Excellency the President to perform that function. As we speak now, His Excellency the President is arriving to our venue. So now we are going to start the Your Excellency, you are most welcome to the next venue. His Excellency the President is now arriving at the second venue. Your Excellency, now this one actually, no matter how scientific it is, looks like the Heroes Day we always have because of the Heroes Corner, the laying of the wreath. Your Excellency, you are welcome to the second part of this function. Okay. Your Excellency, now we are going to have the national anthem and the East African Community Anthem. Your Excellency, I would like to request us to keep standing, and then we shall have prayers. Like Honorable Biekwaso, please can you accompany the religious leaders that they can pray? Your Excellency, for the Christian faith, we have the Right Reverend Paul Semogerere, Apostolic Administrator, Kampala Archdiocese.
God our Father, we thank you for bringing us together as representatives of our country, Uganda. We gather today to celebrate Heroes' Day anniversary, this time being inspired by those courageous men and women who sacrificed their lives and championed the cause of freedom, peace, and justice for our country. Those we know and those we do not know, those named and those not yet named. Our national motto is for God and my country, which means putting you first before anything else. This is exactly what our first heroes, the Uganda Martyrs, did when they gave up their lives for your love. In our national anthem, Lord, we sing that, O Uganda, may God uphold thee, united, free, for liberty, together we always stand. O Uganda, the land of freedom. Almighty, most powerful God, may our gathering today reaffirm these same values in our national motto and national anthem. Celebrating this Heroes' Day today, we look at our history as a nation and humbly ask for your forgiveness where we have undertrodden basic human freedoms, peace, and justice. As a country, our hearts bleed due to the wounds of corruption, violence, dishonesty, and reckless loss of innocent lives. All these atrocities have caused fear and mistrust among Ugandans. In Psalm 2, verses 10 and 11, we find your admonition to us, leaders, that therefore, you kings, be wise, be warned, you rulers of the earth, serve the Lord with fear and celebrate his rule with trembling. Further on, in Proverbs 11:14, you write, for lack of guidance, a nation falls, but victory is won through many advisors. When the righteous increase, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people groan, as we read in Proverbs 29. Most Provident Father, the recent elections and swearing-in ceremonies of our national new leadership are over. We thank you for them, from the President to the councillors. The Holy Father, Pope Francis, has repeatedly called us to remember that we are all sisters and brothers to one another, irrespective of religion or race, as we read in Fratelli Tutti. We humbly ask you to send us your Holy Spirit to create in us a new beginning, that we may feel together as one family, Uganda, that we may cherish again that freedom we once lived at independence. May we learn to care for the most marginalized, especially the children, women, those imprisoned, and to let justice, peace, and the rule of law prevail. Let us conclude our prayer with Psalm 72. Let there be peace and justice throughout the land, known on every mountain and hill. May the King be fair to the poor. May he help the helpless and punish those who hurt them. May people always fear and respect you, God. Amen.
Amen. Your Excellency, we request that we take our seats so that we proceed with speeches. Your Excellency, the first speech will be by the National Chairman of Luweero Triangle War Veterans Association, Haji Edirisa Sedunga.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oweekitiibwa Pulezidenti wa Uganda, omanyi nnimo kalwadde k'amaaso kantawaanya, nja kukusaba onzikirize omuyambi wange asobole okusoma ekiwandiiko kyange kino kitwakoze okujja mu maaso go.
Oweekitiibwa omukulembeze w'eggwanga, kuno kwogera kwa national chairman ow'abaazirwanako mu kanyigo ka Luweero Triangle. Oweekitiibwa omukulembeze w'eggwanga General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Oweekitiibwa omukubiriza w'olukiiko lw'eggwanga, Oweekitiibwa Ssaabalamuzi wa Uganda, Oweekitiibwa omumiika wa ssentebe ya NRM, Ssaabawandiisi wa NRM, abakulembeze b'eddiini, ababaka ba paalamenti abali wano, abakulembeze bonna mu biti byammwe, ba historicals ne ba veterans mwenna, abo abatuwuliriza ku leediyo n'abo abatulaba ku television n'emikutu emikwanira-wala, bassebo ne bannyabo, mu linnya ly'abaazirwanako mbaaniriza era ne mbakulisa okutuuka ku lunaku lw'abazira olw'omulundi ogwa 32. Ennaku z'omwenda Juuni lwe lunaku lwe kutujjuukirira abaami n'abakyala abeewaayo okununula nnyaffe Uganda okuva mu 1900 okutuuka leero ne gye bujja. Nkakasa lujja kusigala nga lukyali lunaku lw'abazira. Oweekitiibwa tukwebaza gwe ne kabinenti okukkiriza emikolo gino okubeerangawo mu bufunda, kisinga okugiyimiririza ddala olw'ekirwadde kino kye tulina. Oweekitiibwa nga mpita mu ggwe, nzikiriza ntegeeze bannayuganda bonna nti tebadde enkola yaffe okujaguzanga olunaku luno mu ngeri bw'eti, naye COVID-19 era nkubiriza bannayuganda mumwegendereze nnyo kubanga kati atandise n'okweyubula. Waliwo owa China, owa Nigeria, South Africa, Bungereza. Ebyo tebigwanya kukuŋŋaanya mu bungi. Tukwebaza Oweekitiibwa Pulezidenti olw'okulwanyisa coronavirus. Amawanga agamu gakafiirwa mitwalo na mitwalo gy'abantu, naye ffe tukyali mu bikumi. Mu ngeri y'emu tukwebaza olw'okutya waire ekigambo ekifa kye waleese okwetantala COVID-19. Nakugambako nti omutabaazi ateekengera olutabaala awangula lumu. Weebale kwekengera korona oba kwetantala korona. Ffe ba historicals, coronavirus atemudde abantu baffe bangi nga Right Honorable Kirunda Kibejjinja twali naye mu mwaka oguwedde nga tujaguza olunaku lw'abazira. Yatugendako. Right Honorable Major Oliver Zizinga yatugendako. Kapiteeni Wahibu Muhammad yali wa Rescue Front oyo naye yatugendako. Lieutenant Kagulire Ekaggobe Nalongo Masala n'abalala Kitawonga, Robinson Jemba Esekanyonyi baatugendako. Naye nkakasa tikasita okugema weekuli tujja kuddamu tukuŋŋaane era tweyagale insha Allah. Era mu katundu kano nyongera okutegeeza nti tulinayo abalwadde baffe. Musajja wo Michael Sekamatte tetuli naye wano lwa bulwadde bwa yalwala omutwe, naye tukwebaza olw'okumujjanjaba. Ne Muzeeyi Saamu Kabonge nabo balwadde. Naye ku bakungu baffe bali tukwebaza okubeera nabo, kuba abakungu historical Kirunda Kibejjinja ne mukyala Oliver Zizinga sebo weebale kubeera nabo mu bulungi ne mu bubi, kubanga Bayibuli egamba nti munaasimbanga olusuku era ne muli emizabbibu gyalwo, naye bavudde mu nsi nga mizabbibu bagirya. Mukama wange abalwanyi bantumye okukulisa n'okuyozaayoza okuwangula akagulu ke-14 ogw'olubereberye 2021 era ne bakukulisa n'okulayira n'okukyaza abakulembeze abangi bwe batyo era n'obasiibula mirembe. Mwebale nnyo abateesiteesi n'ab'ebyokwerinda. Omanyi Oweekitiibwa ojja tusonyiwa ffe abalwanyi. Ebitutiisa bibeera bitono nnyo. Oluusi luba lugambo, oluusi bugambo ga bwe tubeera gye tunywera empaawo yaffe etali ya Haaji. Ogenda okulya oli ng'akugamba nti bannange emmeeri mwagiwulira eri e Mombasa tetukube neyetumalamu. Abo ne bateeka mu kweraliikirira bwe kutyo. Abalala ne batugamba temujja kulayira. Emabegako twawuliranga tsunami, plan B, teri kumalako kisanja n'ebirala. tusaba ebigambo ebyo bwe biwulirwanga wavengayo omuntu omunene obanga minisita atugyengamu okutya. Era kyenva ntunuulira nsekerera abakuvuganya tebamanyi nti wali muyeekera era walwana olutalo lw'ekiyeekera. Bwe twabeerera mu nsiko be twali tulwana nabo batutegeranga bombo bagenda okuwulira nga tukubye kabamba, baatulindiranga mu lubiri nga tukuba masindi tugenda okumaliriza. Kale n'abaali batuteeze okutuwangulira mu Central wano bagenda okwekanga ng'aki kye twekola mu Northern Uganda ne mu East n'ebitundu ebirala nga tebibangawo. Naye tukwebaza olw'okuwangula. Ow'ekitiibwa bannayuganda bafuuse kasobeza. Bwe wajjawo okuwatuka kw'amasasi kati baayiyamu fireworks okwejjukira ebiseera ebiri bye baalimu. Ndowooza ebimu baali bakyabyagala. Bwe wagaana amagye okuboggolera baanayinki, kati baanayinki beetondamu agavubuka ge bayita bakanyama gaboggolera abantu, galumba n'ow'emundu tegawuntya, n'okukuba gakuba, era galemesa n'abamu okulonda. Ate bwe gabaaga opposition gujabagira. Ekyo mwakirabako juuzi nga 18 ogw'11/2020. Naye twebaza ebitongole ebikuumaddembe ebyatereeza embeera mu bwangu, era tusaba bigenderaawo. Ebitono ebitaatuukirira bijja kutereera kubanga atalina kyakola yatakola nsobi. Nyongera okwebaza omwami ono oba mwami oba mukyala gwe bayita kamera kubanga ye tatemya ate talimba. Tusaba muzongere ne mu byalo kubanga ne bwe weekweka okumala ebbanga bwodda bakukwata. Sebo embeera eyo nga tennaba kujja tubadde tetukyayambala nangoye za yero. Ffe balumira mwoyo nga bw'ojambala n'oyita mu ttawuni wakiri bakuba akakipa ka mineral water. Naye ennaku zino tuyitamu mpola mpola, bagenda bategeera nti waliwo gavumenti efuga. Ow'ekitiibwa ntwala omukisa guno okutegeeza bannayuganda abo bonna abanyumira obujagalalo nti omukulembeze Katonda yamulonda. Nti omukulembeze Katonda yamulonda kubanga Kurani etulagira okutya Allah n'abakulembeze muffe. Ate Bayibuli mu Baluumi 13 egamba bweti olw'olubereberye olw'okubiri n'olw'omukaaga buli muntu awulirenga abakulu abafuga kubanga tewali bukulu butava eri Katonda. N'abakulu abaliwo bateekebwawo Katonda nga naawe mwoli. Awakanya abakulu kyavanga awakanya okulagira kwa Katonda, era abawakanya Katonda balyeteekako omusango bokka na bokka. Baana bange temuwakanya, omusango gujja kuba mu mmwe kubanga omukulembeze muweereza wa Katonda eri mmwe olw'obulungi. Naye bw'okola obubi tya kubanga takwatira kitala bwereere. Olw'omukaaga lusembayo lugamba era kyemuvamuwo omusolo kubanga bwe buweereza bwa Katonda nga banyiikirira omulimu ogwo ogw'okutuukiriza obuweereza obwo. Ow'ekitiibwa omukulembeze w'eggwanga simanyi oba bakabona baffe abalekawo ebyagwanira okukola ne babuulira ebitasaanira ennyiriri ezo bazisoma. Bye tusaba Ow'ekitiibwa tukusaba ensawo eya Land Fund eyongerwemu ssente etutaase obwannannyini obw'emirundi ebiri. Bannannyini ttaka mu Uganda nabo basasulwe, ab'ebibanja bakomye okubundabunda. Naye era nga tezinnaba, era tusaba gavumenti eteekewo certificate of occupancy. Ekyo kyandireetawo emirembe okutuusa Land Fund ngeze kubanga awagenda wajja Land Fund Your Excellency tugenda tuwulirayo emirembe. Ow'ekitiibwa tukusaba obutasanga mukono ng'oyogera ku bintu bino waakiri ku buli mukolo okujjukiza bannayuganda ku siriimu kattira, obutagoba bantu mu bibanja byabwe, okwagala Uganda ne Pan-Africanism oba Africa yonna. Sebo ekyo tukigenderedde. Buli lw'oyogera ku ttaka abagoba nabo nga batya okumala emyezi nga3 bwe batakuwulira nga baddamu okugoba. Juuzi bw'agamba abapoliisi okukwata ababba ente awo ne bakola omulimu okumala emyezi nga 6. Ababbi ne batya, kati babivaako, batandise okuddamu okubba ente. Ow'ekitiibwa, kye tumaze okwetegereza, bannayuganda baagala obwannampala obwa buli lunaku. Anti nnyinimu bw'atayogerako oba bw'atakwata mu kisibo, embuzi zifa nnaganga. Mukama wange omwezi oguwedde nayitibwa okulaba mu kulayiza kwa kanso ya Kinyogoga LC3. Abatuuze baayo wabasuubiza okusala tawuni yaabwe ku ttaka ly'ebibira, naye ssebo balinze tebakulaba. Mukama wange, twalina abawagizi baffe mu lutalo, abaluulu n'abalaŋŋo, babeeranga mu bitundu by'oku Kafo ne Nakitoma. Abantu abo be baatuyambanga mu kutunda ente zaffe mu butale, baatuwanga ne muwogo waabwe mungi. Abantu abo bangi nnyo kati babeera Namasale, Amurata n'Apachi disitulikiti. Bwe nagendayo okubalaba bantwalako e Kang'ayi Town Council mu Dokolo disitulikiti, we baakwatira abazira Kaabaleega ne Mwanga. Nkakasa nti abazira abo kwe wajja obuvumu okulwanyisa gavumenti n'emmundu 27. Kuba twawulira otuuma enkambi zaffe Mwanga, Kaabaleega n'ebirala. Tukakasa nti ku mannya g'abaddugavu abo kwe wajja obuvumu, naye ebijjukizo byabwe biri mu mbeera mbi nnyo. Tusaba minisita w'ebyobulambuzi atwale obuvunaanyizibwa obwo era abukole, n'ettaka ligazeetinge libeere lya gavumenti. Ow'ekitiibwa, twebaza abo bonna abawagira NRM n'ebitundu 58 mu Uganda yonna, n'abo bonna abaagumira okutiisibwatiisibwa ne balonda NRM mu Uganda. Ebyavaamu byebyo, anti omuntu atwala amata mu katale n'agulamu taaba. Nabo katubalinde, naye ssebo weebale butatukoowa na kutukyawa, kubanga kabinenti nagiwulidde mwe tuli baggumivu. Ow'ekitiibwa, wali watumanyiiza akaama nga tutuula ne twogeramu face to face, naye ennaku zino akaama kaludde. Ate nga abasinga benkulembera babagemadda COVID-19, kubanga n'ebyatuleetera okukola obubi twandibyogeddeko, Mukama kaffaako. Ow'ekitiibwa, maliriza nga neebaza ebitongole ebikuumaddembe, abasuubuzi baffe, abantu abakuumye n'abatukuumye nga tulya tunywa twebaka. Ssebo, waliwo akantu kano tetwakawandiise, n'ekiyamani yabadde aŋŋambye okukakugamba kakakugambe.
Ssebo Okiibwa, myaka gye6 nga ntububuseemu, kubanga nze nalonda, twagendanga eŋŋoma eyo ne Wakyata, ng'eriyo abasajja abayitibwa Abanyarwanda. Wali omu n'omu mmanyi Bideri, yazaalira kuno abaana n'abazzukulu bali kuno, naye ekyanneewuunyisa babajjako national card yaabwe ndi si bannayuganda, ate nga mwempulya mu sisitemu aga mwateeka eggwanga ly'Abanyarwanda lyo liri ludda wa. Mbadde nsaba ab'endagamuntu batuyambe. Nawandiikayo ebbaluwa omwana oyo ne bamuddiza endagamuntu ye, naye baali bagitutte, naye kyate baba paasipooti kutambula. N'olwekyo tusaba gwenga kabwejongera otulage kye tunaakola ku bantu abo.
Ow'ekitiibwa, sembyayo nga neebaza ofiisi ya mukulembeze w'eggwanga olw'okuteekateeka omukolo guno. Bassebo ne banyubo mwebale na kuteekateeka kulayiza okwali okulungi bwe kutyo. Mbaagaliza omukolo omulungi, Katonda eyabaleese abazzeeyo mirembe. Assalaamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ku lwa Katonda n'ensi yange, Haji Edirisa Sseddunga. Weebale nnyo ssebo, weebalire ddala.
Your Excellency, I would like to request now the Director of Ceremonies to take over and carry us through the next part of the program.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, first of all, I'd like to welcome you to come and preside over this 32nd Heroes Day anniversary. Your Excellency, as you know, this Heroes Day is a landmark occasion in this of our country, because it was in 1989 when you directed that we start celebrating this day, and it was started in Semuto in 1989. By then, remembering the 9 group of people who were slaughtered on 9th June 1981 from the forces which came from Bombo. Those were the late Ruta Maguzi, Nkangiru, and the others. Then it became a landmark, and today we expanded it even to include people who have excelled in the field of science, technology, sports, medicine, and others. Your Excellency, once again I take this opportunity to congratulate you upon having been sworn in as the President of the Republic of Uganda, and Your Excellency wants to wish you success in the 5 years coming. And with this one, the Ugandans have vowed that they will work harder than they have ever been working to ensure that the structure of our economy expands. Your Excellency, having said that one, I want to briefly introduce the visitors who are here to grace this occasion. Your Excellency, I have the Chief Justice of Uganda, Honorable Owiny-Dollo. I have the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Anita Amongi. I have the Deputy Chief Justice, Honorable Richard Butera. I have the first Vice Chairman of the Vanguard Party, NRM, Alhaji Moses Chigongo. I have the Right Honorable Outgoing Secretary General of the Vanguard Party, Madam Honorable Kasure Rumumba. I have the former Minister for Presidency, Honorable Mbayo. I have Esther. I have the former Minister of Ruero Triangle, Honorable Gariwango Sozi. I have the Head of Public Service and Secretary to Cabinet, Dr. Johnny Mitara. I have the Lieutenant General Mbadi, who is representing the CDF. I have AIGP Bakasumba, who is representing the Inspector General of Police. I have Mr. Akena Samuel, who is representing the Commissioner General of Prisoners. I have the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, His Excellency, the Ambassador of Algeria in Uganda. I have religious leaders, Apostolic Administrator, Right Reverend Paul Semogere. Then I have Dr. Kazimba Mugaru, the Archbishop of the Anglican Church. Then I have Pastor Samuel Mate of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Then I have Her Excellency Rosa Marango, the UN Resident Coordinator in Uganda. And I have representative of the family of the late Yusuf Kironde Rure. I have Dr. Ntwatwa Rure and her sister Nora Rure. And I have also Mr. Faris Katamba, the brother of the late Ruta Maguzi. Your Excellency, I would like to inform you that today we have a small function here within the function. I want to request Her Excellency Rosa Marango, UN Representative Coordinator, to make brief remarks on the launch of His Excellency Uganda of a Mind State Change called Uganda, This is Home. So, Your Excellency, Rosa Marango, this is, I think, his last month in this country, he's talking of. So we'll have even time to bid farewell to the Ugandans after making these few remarks and make a demonstration. Her Excellency, Rosa Marango, I request you that you come and do the needful with your group.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Uganda, the honorable members of Parliament here present, the incoming Deputy Speaker of Parliament, the religious leaders, cultural leaders, members of the Diplomatic Corps here and online, representatives from civil society, private sector, the Youth SDG Coalition for Refugees, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the United Nations system in Uganda, I'm delighted to join the people of Uganda to celebrate men and women who, through their valor, sacrifice, and deep conviction of African values, fought for a better Uganda. The UN Charter conveys our determination as a human race to reaffirm our faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of the human person, in the equal rights of men and women, and of nations large and small. It is in this spirit that we recognize the son and daughter, not based on their ethnicity, religion, or gender, but based on their belief of oneness, of being Ugandan. They sacrificed their lives for stability and prosperity of generations to come. We recognize the sacrifice of the citizens for the greater good as an important factor for social cohesion, inclusive development, and sustainable peace. Ladies and gentlemen, as we honor those who lost their lives in the Bush Wars of 1981 to 86, we are called upon to also remember everyone who has lost their life in the struggle for democracy, peace, and justice. Regardless of where we stand in society, we have the potential to become heroes of the motherland. So this special day provides us with an opportunity to reflect and evaluate on our individual and collective contributions to a better Uganda. We need to ask ourselves whether in half a century history will judge us as heroes and whether the generations to come will have reason to celebrate us. Brothers and sisters, fathers, mothers, grandparents, sons and daughters, as John F. Kennedy once said, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. The United Nations recognizes the heroic acts of Uganda as a country for hosting the second largest community of refugees in the world. This is a heroic act informed by the African Ubuntu philosophy of I am because we are, which remains an inspiration for all of us. But we also recognize Uganda for your role in providing stability and leadership in Africa, including the Great Lakes and the Horn of Africa. Men and women from Uganda have enabled entire nations on this continent to deal with terrorist threats and to have the space to redefine homegrown solutions to insecurity and governance. We recognize the gallant Ugandan soldiers serving in various peacekeeping missions across Africa. Uganda, you are also known for your heroic acts in response to the Ebola outbreak in West Africa and in the DRC, where experienced Ugandan health workers, including military personnel, were among the first to respond, leading to expressions of gratitude from the affected communities in West Africa. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, I must use this opportunity to recognize late Major General Julius Oketa, a senior commander of the UPDF, who in addition to leading the Ebola response in West Africa, he also served as director of the National Emergency Coordination and Operations Unit in the Office of the Prime Minister, and in 2013, following your recommendation, was endorsed by the UN Secretary General to serve as an advisory group member of the UN Central Emergency Response Fund. He remains the first and only Ugandan to serve at that level. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a special day. So as we celebrate heroes, I am humbled that we are also about to witness the presidential launch of a national civic education campaign entitled Uganda, This is Home. This was developed by the youth, supported by the National Initiative for Civic Education in Uganda, my office, the United Nations System, and a few other partners. This is the first ever national mindset change campaign, which aims to inspire a new generation of citizens informed by the Pan-African value system of Ubuntu and a new world in which knowledge economies and digital platforms play an important role. This is a campaign to rally citizens to celebrate their diversity, to increase appreciation for Ugandan values, and to transform society through positive citizen participation. We hope this campaign will influence a shift towards a more harmonious coexistence as a modern state. As Nelson Mandela once said, no one is born hating another person because of the color of their skin, background, or religion. People must learn to hate. And if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency the President on 12 March 2019 in Munyonyo launched NICE Uganda on the margins of the Africa Now Summit. But before that, we held consultations across this country, as well as a benchmarking visit to Ghana, which helped us to come up with what we have here today. So allow me to thank all the members of that team, including the former Chief Whip, the Office of the Prime Minister, the Uganda Police, GCIC, and civil society who joined us to be able to make NICE Uganda a reality. Now, before I conclude, I would like to invite Ugandans across society, from the parish to the national level, to engage with NICE Uganda to promote the African philosophy of Ubuntu Mulamu. This calls on us to recognize our shared humanity and our rights and responsibilities as constructive citizens. Obumu, unity, Obwesimbu, integrity, Obwerefu, transparency, and Okufayo, empathy, are the core values in this campaign, which can also be found in Uganda's constitution, the Sustainable Development Goals, and the African Charter on Democracy, Elections, and Governance. Civic education is about protecting the environment. It's about following the SOPs on COVID-19. It's about fighting corruption. It's about eliminating malaria. And it's about making sure that women and girls are safe in their homes. So finally, as the UN Resident Coordinator and the patron for NICE Uganda, it is my honor to hand over this initiative today as part of our support and our commitment to the people and government in Uganda. I wish to convey my appreciation for the support given by the government of Uganda, in particular the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, Operation Wealth Creation, Office of the Prime Minister, Office of the President, as well as Parliament, and from the private sector, I wish to recognize UMC Victoria Hospital for being the first ones to invest in this critical initiative. Your Excellency, I'm delighted to let you know that this morning, following an e-dialogue, we have received additional commitments from Roofings Uganda Limited, Stanbic Uganda, and MBS TV, who will also be joining and supporting this initiative. My deep appreciation goes to the UN and government of Ghana for sharing their experience, in particular Ms. Josephine Nkrumah, Chairperson of the National Commission of Civic Education in Ghana, the National Peace Council, and the Presidential SDG Advisory Unit. Ladies and gentlemen, as the MC just mentioned, it has been an honor for me to serve as the United Nations Resident Coordinator and Designated Official for Security for the Republic of Uganda during the past 5 years. I first came to Uganda in 2016 as UNDP Rep and Coordinator, and in 2019 I accepted the honor to serve as Resident Coordinator, reporting to the President and the Secretary General in the spirit of the reform. Mr. President, the UN Secretary General has now promoted me to serve as Director, Economic Affairs for the Regional Economic Commissions out of our headquarters in New York. I will be coordinating the work of the Economic Commissions in Africa, Asia, the Americas, as well as Europe. So today is my last Heroes Day in my current capacity. But I believe that Uganda has the potential to serve as a beacon of hope, peace, and prosperity for the African continent and the world if it continues to search for approaches that allow all Ugandans to contribute to its transformation. I wish to convey my heartfelt appreciation for the robust partnership between the UN, civil society, private sector, security entities, influencers, and the government during my tenure. Your doors were always open to discuss problems and solutions. To the people of Uganda, thank you for allowing me to become part of your communities, and please extend your hospitality to my successor. Mr. President, I commit that I will return in my private capacity to Uganda, for I have adopted a second son from Sanyu Babies Home. This means that Uganda will now be a second home for my family. With those few words, I want to once again thank you to all for our collaboration, and I wish to invite the NICE Uganda team to please step forward and hold the dummy so that His Excellency the President may launch this campaign and sign it. Kaheru and the others, please come. Mr. President, just to let you know, these people have worked as volunteers for the past 2 years to be able to make NICE Uganda become alive. 2 of them are youth, members of the Youth Coalition that I've been leading, and the other one is a son of the soil, which you know very well, Crispy Kaheru, who is the executive director. And apologies on behalf of the chairman of the board, who is not able to be with us today. So let's preserve and transform our home. This is our home. This is Uganda. Thank you very much for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, now His Excellency the President is going to launch this campaign, Uganda, This is Home. We thank you, Your Excellency, for having accepted to be part of this change, because you have already started the same, and you have put a department in Kampiringisa Reformatory School, where we now have a department of mindset change. Not only that one, the NARI in Chenkwanzo also is doing the same, and the Patriotism Secretary in Office of the President, they are also working now towards making sure that the efforts of Her Excellency Rose Marango becomes a reality in this country. I want to thank His Excellency for the launch of this Uganda, This is Home. Uganda, This is Home. This is part of patriotism. The program is looking at part of patriotism to ensure that Ugandans accept that this is their country. They have to work for it. Her Excellency Rosa Marango, we want to thank you for this initiative, and we think that you will continue with it even if you have left this country. But you have said that you have made it, that Uganda will be your second home. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, at this juncture, I would like to request you to come and address your people of this wonderful nation of Uganda, and give them the message for this Heroes Day, the 32nd, and the first one when you have taken over the next 5 years. Thank you.
His Lordship the Chief Justice, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Vice Chairman NRM, all members of Parliament, former ministers, the religious leaders, as you heard, this 9th day of June was a day when 9 people were slaughtered by Basilio Okero in the Chikandwa village of Nakaseke district. One of the people killed was Rutamaguzi. This person had escorted me in May. I don't remember the exact days, but it was in May, because I was preparing to go out to look for support. I came from Chikandwa up to Nigade, and Rutamaguzi came with me and left me there and went back. Then I went to the place of Chove, the Chove of Matuga. There is a very, something, Kasarirwa, something like that. The place of Chove. I stayed there for some days because I was waiting for a boat to come from Kenya. Not from Kenya, but a boat to be organized from here, taking me to Kenya through the lake. Eventually, my people secured the boat on the 6th of June. So I was driven by Sikwa Wecheyune, our former RDC, from Matuga through some roads. We ended up at Buama, and then in the evening of that 6th, about 5:30, we entered the boat. I entered the boat at Katebo landing site, and we went in the water and spent the night at Bobeke. Bobeke is an island in the lake. It is, I think it's among the last in the Sese archipelago. We slept in the home of somebody who died recently. And this is where I unsuccessfully tried to eat fish, because I don't eat fish. You know, those Banyankore don't eat fish. If you see the fish eaters, you know they are Banyankore of here, of the town. I tried, but I didn't manage. So then the following day, 7th, we got another boat, slightly bigger than this one, but not very. This one from Katevo to Bubeke was 12 horsepower, and the other one at Bubeke was 25 horsepower. It went, but in the lake there, it got problems. But eventually, we entered the Kavirondo Gulf on the way to Kisumu in the evening, when it was coming evening on the 7th. But then we got lost and ended up at another town called Homa Bay instead of Kisumu. But we managed eventually by morning of 8th now to get to Kisumu early morning. The Kisumu people were very disappointed because they thought we were smugglers. They thought we had brought some bogoya and other things, but we had brought nothing except ourselves. So they were very disappointed. So I found there are people waiting for us. Amama Mbabazi and the late Chigozi, the husband of Maggie. And they drove us to Nairobi on the 8th. So the following day, now 9th, today, when I had slept in Nairobi one night, that's when Basilio invaded Chikandwa and killed these people by cutting them. It is true that they were supporting us, which from the point of view of UPC was treason, but they should have been taken to court and charged. But no, they were just killed there, and they were not armed. These were just civilian supporters. The guerrillas they were not seen because they were in the bush. They were not in the village. People who were killed there were 9: Rutamaguzi, Nkanjirwa, the Musomesa, others, Sentongo, 9 of them. So eventually when we won the war, we decided to make the 9th a day to represent all the other people who died in the struggle for freedom, even before independence and during independence and after independence. That's why we call it the Heroes' Day. Now, one of the things we were fighting for is to stop extrajudicial killings, killing people outside the law. And the NRM is very strict on that. Even when mistakes occur, we follow them up. Like, for instance, during these elections, which Bishop Semogere was talking about, there were mistakes. The opposition made mistakes by being violent by intimidation, attacks, attacking people because they are putting you on yellow. You had Kabandwa, the secretary of Haji Sedunga, was reading there that people were being attacked. And even Haji Sedunga said that some people didn't even vote because of the intimidation. It was in his speech there, and that's the truth. Now, this of course was a miscalculation, because I can tell you, if you have got ears to hear, that nobody can defeat the NRM by force. If you bring force, then you are in the wrong arena, because we have a lot of capacity to deal with force. So this is a miscalculation, and those who encourage the opposition to take that line are misleaders. Of course, they are acting unconstitutionally, because there's no need to use force in Uganda now. Because you can vote. Why do you use force? Vote. In some areas, NRM did not win. Opposition won in some areas. So why did we not stop those opposition from winning? We had candidates, but some other groups won. So there's no need to use force. But some people think they can use force and uproot the NRM. It will not happen. That's a wrong line. And also to think that you can use insecurity, like recently when they killed a girl of Katumba, a daughter, and a driver. That will not bring down the NRM. You can be sure about that. What will happen is that we shall mobilize and react, and we shall defeat you, like we did in the past. So it's just a waste of time. But the mistakes on the NRM side is sometimes to overreact, partly because of poor leadership. In some of these groups, you find the soldiers are not well briefed. They just go into a situation without proper briefing. But here, in the procedures are very clear. The standing orders are very clear. How to handle the different types of troublemakers. If they are peaceful but lawbreakers in an illegal demonstration, there is how to handle it. There you use non-lethal methods, which are there. Tear gas, water cannon, those are there. They don't kill, they discourage, and somebody goes away. If somebody becomes violent and goes threatening the lives of the security people, there is also a procedure. In some cases, mistakes happen. Some of them don't follow that procedure and make mistakes. Fire when they should not fire. But what I want to everybody who is honest, because I don't mind about the dishonest people, anybody who is honest knows that we, the government I lead, cannot condone that action. When something like that happens, we follow up, case by case. And I have the files of all the 54 people who died in that problem of 18th of November, I think it was, 18th, 19th. And where the security forces made mistakes, we discovered it. The first thing I did was to hold seminars of those people. You must have seen on the media how I met all the commanders of the special forces. I met all the police commanders in the whole country to review the actions and mistakes, but also follow up the families of the affected people. Like, for instance, many of the people who were arrested were released and even supported. So, therefore, I want to assure Ugandans that there is no way we can tolerate and condone impunity of wrongdoing. Anybody who says to the contrary, they can say what they want, but they are wrong. Now, on security, as I said, nobody can dislodge the NRM by war, because they tried and failed. And our capacity is now much greater than ever before. Secondly, insecurity, thinking that you can kill people, and because you are killing people, because some of these groups plan like that. Let's kill people, target people. In fact, we have warned some of the opposition people. You find people sit somewhere and say, let's go and kill somebody from the opposition, so that people think it is the government which is killing them. And in that way, they would hate the government. Well, we are going to defeat that effort also, because the provocation will lead to counteraction, and in the end, you will lose. So I totally agree with the Bishop Semogeje that the elections are now over. So it's better people, and me, I'm ready. I've met even some of the opposition, I meet them, and we discuss. And we advise them. They can also advise us. The only problem are some who don't want to discuss, and they think they will impose their views on us, which will not, of course, happen. So I want to use this occasion to assure Uganda that Uganda is secure. This killing of the two people who were with Katumba has two sides.